Welcome back, everybody. This is Political Hot Seat, and it's Thursday night, and we've got a live call-in show at 727-8750. I'm here with Harley Kulkin, and he is chairman of the town board, and he is going to speak about an open forum we're going to be having. Go ahead, Harley.
All right, thank you, Bill. On the 26th of this month, I think it's a Thursday at 6 p.m. at Calvat High, we're going to have a open forum. I think Dr. Waters and I will be there, and maybe another board member, I'm not sure, and some of the staff. Whereas town people can come and ask any questions they want about, what the town does or what's going on. I thought it would be a good idea because, I go on Facebook, and you look at some of the different groups and stuff, or different people, and some of the stuff they put on there, it's like, you must be on a different planet. And it's like they speculate on things or have ideas about things that are so far off. I don't know where to even come up with those ideas. So I thought, let's eliminate some of this and let's get down to the truth of what's going on around here and what the town does and has been doing for them. I wish we would have done that a long time ago before the vote took place to get rid of the town. Because like I always say, virtually everybody came from a city here. They didn't really know what their county does. And they just don't understand that we're an unincorporated town, so we're only in charge of the parks, the cemetery, the ambulance, and the fire department. Everything else the county runs. And that's pretty much what everybody's unhappy with. I've never heard anybody complain about the cemetery. I haven't heard anybody complain about the fire and the ambulance or the parks. The town's added a lot more to the parks. We're working on Kellogg Park as an example. We're moving forward. In the old days, you could just get a few volunteers, throw out some concrete, put in some basketball hoops and so on. But nowadays, because of lawsuits and everything else, and laws change, you got to spend a fortune before you even step foot on the property, to get this engineered and that and all that. But, we're moving forward and doing stuff. It's just really a shame that I see the town's delivered. I think the epitome of it is this, so to speak. It's just like, I had the pleasure of working with Vicki Parker for 2 years on the town board. And talk about putting your heart and soul into something. And she was always helping out in the office. And, remember, the town board people don't get elected, but they don't get 1 cent for that job. And she would spend all kinds of hours in the office, month after month helping out, doing everything. And then she don't get reelected. I mean, people are so disenfranchised from what the reality of what's going on in Pahrump is. And it's frustrating because it's so easy to go out there and find out what's really going on instead of listening to your neighbors, wrong ideas.
All right, let's say we lose the town board if you don't get enough signatures by the 26th. Any idea what happens to all these employees? What about the park workers, the people that go around, clean up the parks, straighten the parks up? Matt Lewis, what happens with his group?
The county is not telling us. That's my number one priority is I'd like to know what their plan is. What is the future for these people that have done a really great job for people in Pahrump, and we don't get no answers. They all, the county's always trying to come across it. It's the town's problem that there's this friction or whatever you want to call it between the two, but it's them. The county, time and time again, especially recently, they've made many decisions where they should have asked the town to work with them, or what's going on, and they just ignore us. And the town staff's tried really hard to bridge that gap. I don't know what's going on, other than I see it as one of the things that I see going on is the town has literally millions of dollars in reserve, whereas the county's millions of dollars in a hole. The county at a recent commissioner meeting voted to the town's property tax. The property tax is a variable rate on your tax bill, and the town has not brought their tax rate to the max. Well, the county did a long time ago, and now has asked the state for permission to raise the tax rate so that they can tax you more. And it's like, I call that compensating for failure. I mean, I think the epitome of what I'm talking about is the sewage treatment plant. The town has taken room tax money. Remember, that's from people that come into town and stay in a hotel or in an RV space. Has taken some of that money and invested it in something tangible. We've paved a parking lot out on the 400 acres of land. We fenced an area off, and that we're working towards a facility that can bring money into town. We hired that guy from the former Disney Imagineer to design a project for us, and he just didn't sit down at a desk, like some people like to seem to think, and thought, well, this will be cool in Pahrump. He did a lot of research. He hired a lot of professionals to come up with a project that would really work. So the soccer fields, the baseball diamonds, the recreated Western town. These are all things like the fields would bring in tournaments from out of state and everything would bring a lot of money into Pahrump. And so we're trying to move to that. So when the county voted against a $4.5 million free sewage treatment plant because the racetrack don't want to operate it and they don't want it on their property, they only got so much room. I mean, that was incredible. I mean, that would have really advanced the fairgrounds project tremendously down the road. I mean, I envisioned eventually that, when it was built out for what we planned, that would be over 1,000 jobs. Pahrump couldn't use 1,000 jobs. I mean, even if you're retired, the lack of jobs hurts you. Right now, you go away on vacation. When you come back, you hope your air conditioner's still sitting there. I replace a lot of them that get stolen, not just because it's an abandoned house, but because someone went away for a week or two on vacation.
Right. Well, the thing is, it seems like we always have a conflict over things here in Pahrump, and that's probably one of the reasons why the town hasn't advanced as much as it should, is because everybody seems to have their own reasoning for what they want and why they want it, I don't understand why you would want to stop any. I think we should be opening our arms up to all businesses to come in. I was going to try, I don't know if I'll get it or not, it's like the girls' soccer team that won the state championship and that. A lot of them will be graduated. A lot of them will be going to college. And I want to ask them, are you coming back to Pahrump?
Well, I have 3 children.
And they're not going to come back to Pahrump.
With rare exception, there just isn't the opportunity here. And any community that exports its young, that is not going to be a successful community.
Well, it's a dying community,
Right.
because if you don't have working age, childbearing age people in your community, what do you have?
Right.
People like me, I don't plan on doing a hell of a lot of anything, so,
Yeah, well, but it's like I said, the lack of jobs affects everybody. We spend a lot of money. I mean, I look at the sheriff as an example. As soon as people say they need more money to operate something, generally people like to just say that, they just don't know how to run their organization right, whether it be education or the law enforcement or whatever. But I look at it this way: the sheriff spent over $1 million more. And you could, if you want to, just say that he didn't run his organization right. If he did, he wouldn't have won $1 million over. But I prefer to look at it a different way. I look at it that $1 million more over budget was spent, and he can't keep up with the crime here. So what I'm saying is that we spend a lot more money on crime when it could be spent on things that serve our community, paving roads and things. I'd rather see that than see an expanding law enforcement, the courts, and deputies and so on. So we're throwing our money away. We're not benefiting ourselves because we're a community in poverty, and so we're addressing that with our tax dollars, and we're not addressing quality of life.
Well, it's just like this bike run. Are you guys going to be able to get any idea what this might bring into the community, or do you think it's just going to be an estimate that it could have brought in?
Speaking of Mrs. Parker, she's going to be sitting over there where you sign up, and she's going to be asking people. She's got some forms. Did you come from out of town, or are you staying in a hotel? So she's going to help collect some information. I heard the hotels are pretty full up. So then, we'll go back and we'll ask them, well, normally this time of year, where would you be? So we'll have some general idea of, what a plus it was.
Well, I know that I just heard tonight that all the hotels and everything is booked up for the weekend.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, but we'll get that.
Well, I just heard that tonight. That's just a rumor. So that means if my wife throws me out tomorrow, I don't got any place to go.
Well, come over to my house, Bill.
Oh, okay. I was going to say I don't have.
The kids are gone. I got a couple extra rooms.
I have no place to go, and I understand that your son is now a sheriff.
He's a probation officer, actually.
Probation officer?
Yeah, he went to the Highway
Under
Patrol.
the Sheriff's Department, what?
Well, he went to the Highway Patrol Academy in Carson City last year.
Yeah.
And we're really proud of him. It was the biggest class they ever had, and he got the academic award for the highest grades. And he's a probation officer in Las Vegas.
Well,
and he's doing really well. And,
maybe in 4 years he could run for sheriff in Nye County.
Yeah.
I mean, what the heck?
Well, hopefully we end up with a good one in this election, and that person will continue on for a while. But,
well, you never know. But anyway, I just curious about this bike because, this thing could even bring in, let's say, 20 million in that. Do you think a lot of this money will come back to the town, or is it going to the county?
Well, it goes to everybody. I mean, right now the town still exists, so part of the taxes collected. What a lot of people don't know is, and I've seen it, you know, the sales tax is collected in Nye County, and it goes, so to speak, through Carson City, and some of it comes back. And you can take Round Mountain, Beatty, and Tonopah. Take any two of those, and none of them have 1,000 people living in them. Any two of those get back from the state the same amount of tax dollars that Pahrump gets. Now, Parump's got 83% of the population in Nye County. We have new car sales, which is a lot of sales tax, that no other place in the county has new car sales. We have a Walmart, a Home Depot. We have major casinos. How in the world can any two of those, even all three of them, generate even remotely close to what Pahrump does in sales tax, and we're getting ripped off big time?
Well, that's how come I was just wondering on this, because it sounds like quite a bit of money goes into this. It sounds like somebody is putting out quite a bit of money to promote this.
Yes, the town had a fixed rate, and Mr. Burke that we hired, he's investing a lot of his own money into this. Normally, the first year, you don't expect to make any money. I'm thinking this is going to be a better event than they were expecting.
Let's hope it is.
And then, of course, hopefully, if things happen and the county takes over, that they'll get this event going next year.
All right, well, we're going to have to leave on that note, and that's the end of the show tonight. Next week, we will be back with the people from ProCare Houses. They are startup business here in Pahrump, and they're hiring all Pahrump people, which can't hurt anything. So anyway, be out there this weekend, support the bike ride. Thank you very much.
Definitely.